So I realized in the last video I didn't actually mention what the global enchantment was. It was Maelstrom. So this is what Zabalba casted. Just another reason that he needs to be stopped immediately because this spell is pretty strong. It's like all the other global enchantments, except maybe even a little better because it gives you everything. But got a lot of evocation research done right away. A lot of astral gems from my friend Abyssia to dispel Wrath of God. And I immediately spent those gems, I think, on a golem. Yep. This is the Archdevil I got. Pretty cool little guy. Fire 4. Yeah, getting him over here, preparing for the invasion of the frog. And I have too many elves here, but also my golems too, preparing for sort of, not a preemptive strike, but a responsive strike, seeing what my opponent's going to do. I think part of my, I was trying to think like what level of siege strength would be necessary to break these forts in one turn, so I could jump into them immediately. Oh yeah, also Vanrus lost this, but there's nothing here, so. Yeah, at last Vanrus has lost Jotunheim, but, you know, even though he is definitely dead, now is the time for the other elf to save his life, now that he has absolutely no chance of victory. So yeah, I'm marching in. Also, Agartha is too. He actually is at last using his statues. And yeah, it's a pretty scary little army here. Crushes this little Zabalban frog squad. So, yeah, actually killed all of them. Even killed the big frog. I'm curious, do they have gear on them? Or are these guys just naked? Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, that's not nothing. Okay. Yeah, so pretty good from Agartha. A lot of military force suddenly exerted over here in the north, so I bet that has the frog concerned. Oh, and I claimed the throne of life, so now I have 10 ascension points. I only need 2 more. Only need 2 more in order to win the game. And I'm eyeing up this one for sure. And then after that, one of these 3, probably. These 2 are just kind of impossible. Maybe I made these throne settings too restrictive, because like the amount of thrones that are required to actually win and the way they're spaced out. Like, my country is pretty tremendously huge. My income just kind of keeps growing every single turn. And yet I'm managing to keep the treasury at 0. So that's good. Anything else happen of note this turn? Found a magic site. A woodhenge. Yeah, that's fun and good. Got a lot of blood slaves. Killed some spine devils. Killed a unit from the early era. Yeah. That's really all there is to say on this turn. I am actually, with all these elves here, barely keeping my supplies under, but once these humans walk in, I don't think it's going to be good enough, even with the little cauldron of broth. But you know, we'll see. I'm also sneaking over some more troops, continuing to call more and more Wraith Lords, because you can never have too many of these guys. They live infinitely. Really can't ever get rid of them. So. And I'm also moving all of the various kings and other royalty pieces to the south, getting ready to prepare for the invasion of Zabalba. Nothing else really of note this turn. So here we are, turn 56. I actually had the Archdevil, instead of moving, I had him get another Archdevil. And I made another golem. Also, I developed a little lab here underwater so I can have the Sea King, who created the Queen of the Sea. Gave her immediately a amulet of anti-magic because I don't have the underwater forces to keep her alive. But basically my plan is to slowly very slowly and clunkily move the queens that I can get over here to this underwater throne. But there weren't any battles this turn to look over. There's a lot of like horrible events happening. All my troops getting killed by, or my mages getting killed by demons or whatever. Garden of Bones spawning a skeleton, but the Child Feaster just dealt with that, no problem. Also found a magic site here, an Enchanted Gate, which is pretty cool. Otherwise, I'm just content to sneak troops into Zabalba's land. My plan is really just have elves on every single territory I can get away with. Maybe not this one, because there's Fiends of Dark and clearly some blood mages here site searching. But basically just take every single one of his provinces that I reasonably can in one turn. You can see Agartha is starting to siege that fortress down. And my gem income, even though it's amazing, I've emptied the warrens basically. We don't have anything left. We are going all out to defeat the Toad. I've been slowly walking this Reaper guy over here into the Frog's territory. Got some very high-powered Earth 4 dwarves summoning. Yeah, just summoning as much as I possibly can. Yeah, that's really all there is of note on this turn from my perspective. Just a lot of like logistics movement. Okay, so here we are on turn 58. I got another Queen of Elemental Water. I got another Golem. I got another Archdevil. Actually found quite a number of magic sites here. Lantern Forest, that's a good one. Oh, look at that. 2 air gems. Did something pretty dumb this turn. Had this guy cast Curse of Blood over here, which, great to get a vampire lord, very powerful. Not great that they can't pass over rivers, and then you summon them on an island. So unfortunately, he can't go anywhere and is permanently trapped on this little rock. And you may be seeing a lot of red arrows. That's because this is the turn my NAP ended with Zabalba, so I'm attacking every single one of his provinces that I possibly can hit with as many troops as possible. You're seeing the troops that I'm attacking each province with. Just sort of quickly going through all of these to show precisely what my thinking and what my plans were. So in case you're curious about a more specific detail, you can review it yourself. But suffice to say, I'm not really letting anything live, except here. Agartha took that, so I was like, hey, let me have this one, let me have this one. Don't walk there. Or I might not have mentioned it at all. I might have been keeping it entirely secret. So that's where I'm attacking Zabalba. If all goes well, I should consume like 90% of his country in one turn. Oh, I'm even attacking underwater here too. Yeah, if all goes well, I should take everything. There's a few underwater provinces in this cave that I am not touching, or this fortress, but, should be pretty good. Now, what happened over here is, my good friend Abyssia. Well, basically, I had some elves that were just lurking around for fun, because, it's just good policy to make sure elves are lurking around in someone's territory, and they got caught by like an imp or something. At least I think that's what happened. This kind of looks like there was an attack, but I don't believe I wanted to attack. I think this was a failed input on my part. I wanted it to be a sneak, but instead it was an attack. So I decided instead to just do the nuclear option and immediately attack every single one of Abyssia's provinces that I possibly could in one turn, to try to kill him as fast as possible. Unfortunately, this happened at like the worst time possible, because I think Naba also wants to attack Abyssia, so he's going to be kind of mad that I'm taking his land. And I'm, of course, getting bogged down in this massive war over here. So just, kind of a lot of bad things happening at once in my effort to win the game, kind of self-sabotaging. But, we're gonna try to recover, even still. So I'm getting another Archdevil with this guy, and I'm going to try to defeat both these players at the same time. Shouldn't be too difficult, because I think Abyssia has completely mentally checked out of the game. Maybe even literally checked out of the game, as gone AI. No, I guess not. But, I mean, he doesn't even have, like, province defense. Like, he didn't have any here, so not really concerned. I think I can just, like, kill him in one go. And if nothing else, this will be a nice little buffer that when Nabaa inevitably decides to attack me, he will have to wade through these provinces to get to my thrones. My actual important regions. Versus these where I have not site searched. I don't know if Abyssia has been keeping up with site searching. But the problem is I don't have a fort down here underwater. And I think I could, if I had my Pretender cast 3 red seconds. Yeah, I mean, it says 2 complex, but I could get him to 5. It says cannot be cast underwater, but it can. It just means you can't. The mage casting the spell can't be underwater at that time, but you can cast it and target an underwater province. So I should have got that done before doing this, because I don't want to incentivize. Like when this happens, Nabaa is gonna think, oh, okay, the era of peace in our time is it's gone. It's time to go here on turn 58. So here I'll jump ahead and show you what happens next. Okay, so suffice to say there were many battles. Not all of them went according to Keikaku. Like this guy down here, that was not a good one. Kind of lost those Van Heerses. Really shouldn't have tried to fight where he had 77 wolves. But, for the most part, it went pretty good. I took, like, almost everything of note from Zabalba. His country has really, like, shrunk to nothing. Unfortunately, my Van Heers here get killed. But my Van Jarl, holy moly, does survive. Really shouldn't have had that guy fight there. I named him Holy Moly specifically because... where did he retreat to? Here. He is a level 3 priest, which is very important for taking thrones, so much so that I really shouldn't have him just, like, ambiently going on random adventures in the middle of the woods. So instead I'm getting the big meat guys to just come in and smash this shit away. And they shouldn't have too much trouble. And I also have a bigger army of the other fire guys walking over here to these provinces. And we took his capital, sort of, or at least we're breaking down the walls. My plan is kind of just immediately to move all my troops. Oh yeah, and we're storming this throne as fast as possible. Take the throne of bureaucracy. Yeah, just trying to smash through it, take that throne quick, and then, I mean, you can already see, like, the plans here. I'm gonna try for Marignan. Wasn't sure which of these thrones, because I don't have vision on this guy, because he's been, like, assassinating all my scouts with his irritating Wrath of God. But, I think this elfing went okay. Went pretty decently. He is committing troops over here to deal with Agartha. I really don't think Zabalba expected this to happen, because he didn't, like, create any attacking forces against me. And I think I told him that I was dissolving the NAP for this turn. So he should have known that this was happening, but I suppose he was too concerned, too preoccupied with the wars against the other 2 players that he was experiencing. And here he actually attacked me with a golem. Thankfully my Archdevil didn't die, but you can see this is the threat we're going up against. This guy is geared to kill golems. Like, you use Smasher specifically to kill golems, to just destroy inanimate beings. such as a golem. And the Sword of Swiftness is just, it's going to do a lot of damage really fast. Yeah, so this is kind of the reason why I didn't want to use my golems offensively, and I have them sitting back at home researching. I don't even have them moving yet, because I thought to myself, I don't need to deploy them. It's not a big deal. I even have the Air Queens also just hanging back, because I don't need to use them. Here, this is a cool battle. This is actually me fighting against Abyssia with this Archdevil. Against this, like, massive Abyssian army here. And he's got some mages, too. Yeah, he is ethereal because I had a little lizard shaman with him who cast body ethereal before the... basically at the very beginning of the battle, so... these guys don't do magic damage. He's immune to fire. 39 fire resistance. He's not taking any damage from their little auras or whatever, so no need to worry about that. Yeah, I mean, Abyssia loses. We don't need to go into all the details, but it didn't quite go great in Abyssia's territory. I am sieging his capital, which is cool, and this fortress, again, remains owned by Misthought, the Ivy King, as it does forever. What I didn't expect is Nabah to also attack Abyssia on this exact same turn. And you can see we actually fought each other, not intentionally, it just sort of happened that way, which was a bit distressing that Nabah was able to move on to this fortress because it's not too far away from, from Mictlan, and the two thrones up here in Mictlan's Island. And this throne is still exposed. So this was sort of worrisome that Nabah like jumped in to take this fight, and like he went into this with the expectation that he's going to get some land. And I mean, I guess he won the battles everywhere he fought, but I suppose, like I'm kind of taking a lot of his clay that he perhaps wanted. I don't know why I thought I could be the Fire Lord, but of course, no, I could not. What am I summoning? Bishop Fish? Yeah, Bishop Fish is useful. Claim thrones. Marching over with this Queen of the Sea, and this is my other Queen of the Water, Queen of the Deeps. I have no gems. I have nothing. No gems left anymore. I'm using every single one possible. I'm flying Father Biaka with his magical wing shoes to the south as fast as possible. Desperate to take a throne. Take any throne. I mean, I think I can get this throne. There was nothing here. We just, like, broke it instantly. But, we gotta get another throne. Must get one more throne in order to win the game. And it's turn 59, and, yeah, if Nabal wants to break his NAP... Actually, I think on this turn he did. I think this is like the turn, the first turn of, hey, I'm dissolving the NAP. And I think also in this turn, Agartha said he was dissolving his NAP with me. Marignon said nothing because the dude was, like, just completely, totally, utterly zoned out of his mind. And just doing nothing but building sacreds in every single fortress. So, with that in mind, clearly the weak link is Marignon. It's not, the entire server. Basically, I'm fighting the entire server except for Falegra and Vanarus. We'll see what happens on turn 60. So because I am a cruel god, I actually don't have turn 60, and instead we're skipping straight to turn 61. Just really for the thrill of it. And yeah, you can see a lot of red arrows on the map. This is the last turn of peace with Nabah, obviously. Moving down here desperately to protect this underwater throne. The war with Abyssia, I mean, it basically wasn't even really a war. It's just like more like border skirmishing. But I'm not taking any land, and Nabah has got this pretty scary looking death ball over here. A lot of powerful mages in this composition. Yeah, I mean, he really has complete power over reality, as expected. Um, yeah, he can basically do... He can do whatever he wants. He has total power here. And my little Van Heerses can't do much at all. He effortlessly took this fortress from Abyssia, didn't lose a single mage, just lost he lost 3 sacreds and 5 camels. And 1 camel commander, I suppose, for 8 Abyssian mages. So I bet you he's going to move here, and I'm very hastily and quickly trying to assemble some sort of defense here on this throne, thinking, oh no, I'm going to lose it. Thankfully, I did take this throne here. There wasn't a battle. It was like 1 commander inside, and I flew holy moly over with Cloud Trapeze to claim the throne. And in the meantime, with this giant death ball of coagulated mass, I am walking them over here to this throne, because my goal is, with all of this siege strength, including some units that are teleporting in that you can't see, yeah, also having some golems retreat back home for defensive purposes, to crack this throne in 1 turn, and then take it, and then claim it. And if that goes successfully, I will be there on turn 62, I'll be inside on turn 63, and then the end of the game will be turn 64. That is the ideal, assuming everything goes perfectly according to plan. If it will, if it won't, it's like Zabalba doesn't really have much. He's got this big stack, but it's not actually that threatening. He doesn't have that many mages, considering this is the might of his country. Yeah, and his items aren't really anything to write home about either. It's a scary army for sure, but it's not like... If I brought 4 of my elemental royalty, I could smash it for sure. And furthermore, it's great that it's over here in the northern part of his country instead of next to one of my thrones, because that's really the problem, is can the lobby stop me from winning the game? If Marignon was awake and not asleep at the keyboard, I think he this would basically be kind of impossible. I suppose this is also, maybe from his perspective, a NAP break, but as far as I'm concerned, the nap with Marignon broke like 30 turns ago. So I haven't trusted that guy even an iota. And this is my pathetic little army that I'm using to defend the underwater throne. I really should be casting... I'm casting Dispel. Yeah. So I threw a bunch of gems into getting rid of the Wrath of God, because I really didn't want to have this army over here get, bludgeoned by thunder from Wrath of God, because it would be really bad if I lost a Gate Cleaver to Wrath of God or something. And I believe I mathed it out at the time. I defined precisely the amount of siege strength that I would need, assuming, his defense really is just 9 units. The amount of siege strength that I would need to break through the walls instantly in 1 single turn. It was probably 900 or 850 or something like that. And I believe I got it. Yeah, here I have Lord Anthrax sitting on Zabalba, just having fun, just bouncing around between these territories, really just trying to be annoying. Oh yeah, and I killed all the stuff that was there too. So yeah, not going good for Zabalba for sure. Abyssia is basically dead. The real threat is Nabah. And what is Nabah's response going to be now that the NAP is over? Well, you'll just have to wait and see till next time.